What's happening, y'all? Unfortunately, I'm back to the straight up and down thing because I wanted to go live with this. The landscape looks so much crisper and so much better. But I'm on my way to eat some food, just enjoying vacation. But I want to talk to y'all about investing because there's this, I'm going to say, somewhat delusion that investing money is always better than saving money. And the key word I want to emphasize is always. I also want y'all to know that I'm not against investing. I think you should. But if it was so easy, like people claim, how they throw the love word around, same thing they do with investing. If it was so damn easy, everybody would do it. See, that's the catch. Let me ask you a question. Is it better to have, we're just going to throw a low number. Is it better to have $10,000 safe in the bank or a high yield interest account, right? Or to have $10,000 tied up in an investment that really ain't moving like that? In fact, it might actually start losing money. But according to these people, all you gotta do is invest and it's just a guarantee that you're gonna gain money, right? Another thing you got going on is people will say you keep putting your money in there, in 20 years you're gonna have this much and that much, right? But what they're not counting is the money that you put in there. Is the interest really that much better? Are you really getting that much interest when you putting all this money, tying up all this money into something? Are you really? Or is it just your money and it's kind of like a scam for the most part, making you think that your money's growing? Not only that, what if they fail? You don't know what these people are doing with the money. When you invest, you're putting it into something, unless you invest like into let's say a restaurant or something that you can see, you physically can see what you're doing. That type of investment, then okay, you know what's going on. But like stock market investing, you don't know. You're blind. All you're doing is going off of a chart that they're showing you. Yes, they got to show you this and that. I get it, but it's no guarantee, dog. You could actually lose all that. Then what? These people can say one day, oh, that stock market crashed. Yep, there goes your money. Sorry for you. Or all the currency's going to a chip. You gotta take this chip in your body, or you can't buy, sell, trade. My point is this, though, man. I think both are important, just like I think having credit and cash is important, because that's another thing that people like to use, the credit aspect. It's like people don't count the money that they spend. So, in other words, when people say credit, they're not counting the money that they got to pay back. They're just counting the fact that, oh, I got somebody else's money. How do you got somebody else's money when you got to pay it back with interest? Also, when it comes to the stock market, you got to pay taxes on this shit. That ain't all your money. Those numbers that you see ain't all your money. You got to pay taxes on that shit. The biggest issue with me versus saving and investing in stock markets, not investing in a restaurant like that or open your own restaurant. I'm not talking about that. That's hands-on investing. I'm talking about where you can't see investing type shit, stock market shit. The biggest difference or issue with me is your money's tied up. Mine's not. I would also like to ask all the normal people, not Warren Buffett and all them who are in the so-called elite stock market, because that's what they in this club. They know what's going on. Jay-Z and all them, they in this club. Illuminati type club, stock markets type shit. So they know what the fuck going on. You don't. But anyways, I like to ask average normal people. Average normal people. If investing is better than saving so much, why do I have so much more money than you? Just wondering. I thought investing was so much better. It is if you invest in the right shit, right? If you invest in the right shit, it is better, right? But that's the thing. You got to invest in the right shit. See, I'm not here to tell people not to invest. I'm here to tell people, man, damn, I wish they had let me rotate. I'm here to tell people that you got to be careful with what you invest in. You're better off sitting on money until you figure out where to really invest it, instead of, oh, it's just about investing. You know, one of the things that I read in this book is one of the biggest reasons why investors lose is because they feel like they got to constantly always invest in shit. And that's their biggest downfall. Like, sometimes some things are not good deals. I'd rather save the money than invest in a bad deal. And I know people are going to say inflation. I already know what they're going to say. Inflation. Inflation really is not as bad as what people make it out to be if you don't live beyond your means and if you are very manageable with your money. Meaning, instead of going to Kroger's for the milk, I'm going to go to Myers for the milk because it's cheaper. But I'm going to go to Kroger's for the vegetables because it's cheaper, and not to Myers. Like, there's ways around this so-called inflation bullshit that people keep talking about. And inflation counts against your so-called invested stock markets too. But back to what I was saying, people say, well, I'm just going to throw all my money in this 401k, bro, because when I retire, I'm going to have this much money. Well, again, I put money in 401k. I just don't put the max, because I don't know if that money going to be there, for one. For two, you're not counting the money that you're putting in. So say somebody put in all this money in 401k and then they retire, right, at 65 and they got 300,000. I already got that beat. And yeah, I got 401k money, but that ain't counting. That's not even counting that money. I already got that beat, and I'm not even retired. Nowhere near, for real. What happened? So you're trying to tell me because somebody invested in 401k or stock market or whatever, and they got 300,000 to retire with, that they did it better than me that just saved it? Saved almost $500,000? Now let me say this. Somebody who like me that saved and all this, if they invest in the right shit, they'd be worth way more than that. But you gotta invest in the right shit, and you gotta understand that investing is going to come with losses. Ain't nobody out here just investing in the right shit 100%. No, that don't work. It don't work that way. That's what they not telling y'all. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm not saying don't invest. I'm saying be very, very careful what you invest in. Because some people right now, they're winning when they're investing, but what happens when that goes away? Or what happens if that falls off and you leave, and people be committing suicide and shit over the stock market shit and all this other shit. Because they didn't put all that money in that shit, and then all of a sudden one day, oh, well, it just fell. We're sorry, Wall Street, we're sorry. Your money's gone. What I don't like about the stock market is I can't really see what's going on. Or I can't control, to a certain extent, what's going on. Yes, you can pull out and all this other shit. I get it. But you still really can't control what's going on. Versus me, lawn care service, restaurant, or something like that. I could kind of control to a certain extent. The more work ethic I put in, the better the results more than likely going to be. Stock market, you kind of just got to go with what they're going with. You got to go with their flow. Blindly at that. I'm just waiting for a so-called average normal investors, everyday people like me. I want them to explain how come I have way more money than you, but you invested. I thought investing was so much better. I'm just saying. All I'm trying to prove is, I'm not trying to prove that investing isn't better. Basically, what I'm trying to prove is, it's better off having your money protected, safe, until you can figure out where to invest it. Instead of, oh, it's invested, so I buy. This is what they make it seem like. If their money's invested and mine just sitting around saying that they're better, they're doing better because their money's invested. Your money can be invested and not move at all. Just sit at the same rate. And it's tied up, a lot of them. A lot of that money is tied up. You can't even get to it right now. I can get to mine if I want it. What if an opportunity comes, hey, I'm trying to sell this restaurant or something. Oh, shit, let me go get my money real quick. It ain't that easy when you got it in the stock market and all this. You got to pay taxes and all that. And that's another thing. Let me say the tax thing again. Your portfolio in your stock market is not what you're really worth because you still have to pay taxes. I don't. My money is after tax. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if investing is so great, why don't y'all somebody show me where to invest in? Since it's so great. I'm not a firm believer in following everybody. And I feel like the elite put out a blueprint for us to fail. But you can win if you know what you're doing. Like, their blueprint is a fail or win situation. In other words, yes, real estate, investing in stocks and all that is the way to go, but you can also fail. Like, it's a two-way sword. Either you're going to live by it or you're going to die by that motherfucker. You know, some people will say, here's another one. Man, as soon as you get the money, buy a house, dog. What you doing, man? What you doing, bro? You better buy a house. And almost all the homeowners that I know, they stuck in that house payment. And they ain't got nowhere near the money I got saved. But I thought renting was worse, right? This is what I mean by us being programmed. Renting's worse. Saving money's worse. It's kind of like they want you to do the opposite of what. It's kind of like you should do the opposite of what they're really saying. I ain't saying buying a house is a bad thing. But as I look around, and most people who bought a house, where is their money at? Oh, I know. It's invested in that house, and when you sell it, you're going to get your money, right? I get it. But you got to sell that house. And this is another thing with the house thing. Well, I bought my house for 20, and when I sell it, it's going to be worth 80 or 90. They're not even counting the money that they put into that house. And the interest that they're paying on the mortgage. They're not counting that. That's the problem. It's like they got y'all delusional, or they got y'all delusional to the fact that when it comes to your part of the money that you invest, it's like people only count the part that the so-called gain, but they don't count the money that they actually put in that actually makes their gain less than what it really looks like. Again, I'm not saying buying a house is bad, but if you can get rent for a pretty decent price, I don't see why you would choose buying a house unless you're trying to make money off of buying the house. I don't think people should buy a house and just live in it. I think people should buy a house to try to make a profit off that house and buy another house and do it that way and have those houses pay for your house. That's the only way. That's the only way, because other than that, you still paying rent. You don't own that house. You still gotta pay. You still gotta pay taxes on that house. Your taxes. Sometimes them taxes be just as much as the rent for the whole year getting an apartment. Especially if you're dealing with like rich people homes. I get it though. I understand the game and why people think the way they think, but you gotta play it the right way. Because like I said, the way that they got it designed for us, you know, get your real estate, get your home, and get your stock market and all that. The way they got it designed it's a double-edged sword. You can win at it or you can lose at it. You can win at investing or you can lose at investing. You can win at sport betting or you can lose at sport betting. I like high interest saving accounts because it's an investment and there's no risk. Is that the best investment out there? I'm not saying that, but it's the safest one for now. I'm all about safe, and I'm all about not having my money tied up. I don't know about y'all, but I'm all about safe and not having my money tied up and someone one day on Wall Street talking about my money gone. I don't like that. I don't trust people. I don't trust other people with my money. The only reason why Warren Buffett and them win like they win is because they got the insight on everything. This is why you see Disney and them closing down those couple years ago. Disney and them removing their money and all that because they know what's going on. You don't. You're not part of these people, bro. Y'all got to understand that you're not a part of the club. You don't know when shit about to shut down. They do. So it's really risk-free for them because they know what's going on. They know exactly, oh shit, Disney about to go down. Let's pull our money out and take it here or put it there. And it kind of makes me wonder why all these celebrities moving to islands now. Like they know something about to happen in America to where maybe, we don't have no more currency. It's something going on. They know something. Ain't no way they just moving to islands and shit, man. I want someone to prove to me, not real estate wise, but buying a house is better than rent. Even Grant Cardone, the so-called millionaire, told y'all that it's better to rent the house. Unless you're buying a house to sell and make profit, how is it better than renting? Especially if I can get rent for way cheaper than I can getting tied up in a mortgage. If you can get mortgage cheaper than rent, then maybe you should. Or if you got a family, maybe you should. But my point is not to tell you what to do. My point is to prove that everything everybody says, like, yeah, rent's better than, or buying a house is better than rent by default, automatically. No, not always. Having your money invested in the stock market is better than having it in a bank. Not always. Not always. It depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. So if you're going to invest, you got to understand that you got to do this shit right. You got to understand it. You can't just say, oh, I'm just going to invest, man, and just, it don't matter. I'm going to win because I'm investing. That's not always the case. That money can be snatched from you, and you got to pay taxes on that money. All kind of things come with this. I don't know what else to say about it, people. I'm trying to learn how to invest. No doubt about it. But I understand that until I really figure it out, there's no way someone could tell me that that I'm going to have more like this. Let's just say I don't invest for 10 more years. They're trying to convince me. Here's the end of it. I'm about to drop the mic on this niggas. I'm about to drop the mic on all y'all niggas. They're trying to say that if I invest, right? Keep in mind, you might lose money, you might have to pay taxes, etc. They're trying to say in 10 years, guaranteed, if I invest a certain amount of money, that I'm going to have more than if I just save it, scot clean, after tax, no risk. That's not necessarily true. If this is the case, then show me the person that got the $500,000 that invested. Average person like me that started from zero with just working, right? And investing the money that they work for. Show me. Yeah, if they do it right, they probably do. Right? But there's a good chance that they probably don't. And that money's tied up at that. And keep in mind, their portfolio isn't really what they got because they got to pay taxes. Mine has got clean taxes. Gone. Out the door. If you can show me an investment that can compound interest me over $1,000 a week, then I'll quit my job right now. After tax, after expenses, everything. If you can show me an investment that can give me $100 to $1,000 to $1,500 after taxes investing every week. I'm gonna say this again because I'm dropping the mic on y'all fools. If you can show me an investment in the stock market, wherever the fuck, that can give me $1,000 to $1,500 after tax, after living expenses, right? Which are so-called renting homeowners, all that, right? that can give me $1,000 to $1,500 after tax every week, then I'll quit my job right now and I'll follow you. I'll wait. Don't say the S&P 500. They not giving you no $1,000 a week unless you put millions in that motherfucker. A lot of people just infatuated with titles and shit. I like to stick to the basics. I don't gotta be the investor or the boss. I'm just gonna be me, the same old little worker, and I'm gonna manage my money and shit. We'll see who win at the end. Since everything you doing is just godly the best thing ever, and it's just right. Or whatever. My point is already proven, man. Until I find somewhere that helps me, until I see something that allows me to invest or profit $1,000 to $1,500 a week after expenses, then I ain't moving my money nowhere. I'll leave it right in the high yield savings, no risk, and still probably make just as much as y'all so-called stock market and all this other shit. Maybe not quite as much, but still. Why would I move money to something that doesn't profit me more than my job? Why wouldn't I just leave that money there? Eventually I'll figure it out. Why would I just put shit in shit? I read a book that said the biggest flaw of investors, they always feel like they got to have money invested here and there, and that's their biggest flaw. They invested in a lot of bad deals. At the end of the day, if I don't find investment that can give me $1,000 to $1,500 after tax, how the fuck is it going to be a better investment in 20 years if I just keep working and do it? How? Explain. If the stock market is so much better, then that means the stock market should give me more than $1,000 a week after tax, right? Since it's so much better, because according to them, you'll have more if you invest. Okay, then that means I would have to have an investment that pays me $1,000 or more after tax. If not, then I might as well just keep working. See what I mean? If investing is so much better, where is this investment at that's going to pay me more than $1,000 after tax, after expenses? Where's it at? A week. Where? Because according to y'all, if you save, there's no way that you're going to profit more than an investment. Then, if this is the case, that investment would have to profit more than just working at the job and saving about $1,000 or more. Think about it. I ain't seen it yet. I ain't seen one investment yet that would give me $1,000 or more after tax. Because remember, a lot of portfolios in the stock market saying they got this much, but they ain't pay taxes on the shit yet. Whatever. That's beside the point. Point is, show me. Show me where I'm gonna profit this at. Show me what investment. It's not happening. That's why you have people who did invest all this so-called money. Yeah, they retire. I got $300,000. I'm retired, but I already got that, and I'm not even retired. And I'm not no ball player, none of that. The point is, the point that I'm making. It's not always what it seems, man. You can't just say because someone saves that they're going to not be able to beat someone who invests. That's not always true. Unless you got the good investments, but those things can cost you money. And they tie up your money. So I'm not saying don't do it either. All I'm saying is stop believing that you got to invest in something and it's always better than saving, because I already proved it. If that's the case, then I would be able to find something to invest in that yields me more than over $1,000 a week. And I have yet to find that. So why the fuck would I start putting money in shit that doesn't invest like that? Over just saving it for myself or keeping it in, saving it to myself and keeping it in a high yield savings account. I get it if you want to take a little here and put it in this little thing that grows a little or produce a little bit of money and put something here that produce a little bit of money. But the problem with the stock market is there's risk. The problem with real estate is there's risk. Without no risk, there is no reward. So you got to be able to take that risk. But why would I take that risk if I don't see a risk that's going to yield me more money than just saving and playing it safe? It doesn't make sense to me. And I still haven't seen someone explain to me why. All I hear is a bunch of I sound smart, I'm Warren Buffett type motherfuckers. That's all I hear and see. All because it sound good and it sound cool. But where's your receipts? I'm going in this store to eat, man. I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't buy a house. But I'm not saying don't rent. Because sometimes rent is the better option. Grant Cardone, the millionaire, told you that don't buy a house. He said rent. The only way I see buying a house is if I'm buying a house to make profit to buy another house. And those houses, you know what I mean, are going to buy my house. That's the only way I see it. But just to buy a house flat out and say that it's better than rent, the only way it's better than rent is if it's cheaper for you than rent. And in most cases, that's not the case. And your money's tied up, and you're tied up in a mortgage, paying interest and all that. I'm free with rent, and I know what you're going to say. Well, I own it. Do you? To me, you don't own the shit because you're still paying taxes on the shit. So, in all honesty, you really don't win when it comes to buying a house until you sell it and make profit off of it. And most people are not going to make profit off of it because the money that they put in it. Yeah, you might have bought it for 20 and you sell it for 40. We're just going to say numbers. And you sell it for 40, but you didn't put the other 20 into it, keeping up the house. Look, man, it's not what people think. It's not as black and white as what people make it seem to be when it comes to investing, real estate. It's not that easy. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And you got people who was up in real estate, $1 million, all this and all that, and then they broke. I don't care what nobody say. Nothing beat cold hard cash. Let me say that again. Nothing beats cold hard free cash. Nothing. You're saying you would rather have $1 million in a home or $1 million cold hard cash right here. You still got to sell that home, dog. If you can sell it. And you got to pay taxes on it while you still own that home. I'm out because I got to get to this table. All right.